All right, everybody. Welcome to the second episode of Supportive Advice Live. We have our mic on. Yeah, that actually was a thing. So we are going to start in as we usually do, right? And that is with an episode of Workplace Horror Stories.
I'm dead. We still workplace horror stories.
So my colleague is going to fill me in on what is it? What T?
Tea.
Around what has been going on at work. I am all ears. Tell me your story.
Okay, so I got into work today, and one of my manager friends was like, "Are you okay? Do you need to sit down? Are you feeling any better?"
Oh, because you weren't feeling well.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, I mean, that sounds nice. That sounds like a nice person.
yeah, she's cool. But anyways, um, they're like, "Well, you can sit down. You don't have to start early today." Things were cool,
Okay.
and then I go to the front where I start,
Mm-hmm.
and all you hear from one of the other managers is, "Where were you yesterday?" I was like, "I was out sick. I caught the store."
What?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, all right. So let me leave my perspective and kind of jump into the shoes of a manager that apparently doesn't know what's going on. That is a valid question. Where were you yesterday? Okay, so you answered the question.
I was like, I was out sick. I caught the store
Hmm.
that day. Like, they know I was out. And then they go, "Well, I didn't know. And no one told me." I was like, I don't know how to answer that. Because I got permission.
Right, right.
And they were just like, okay. It's like they left me alone. I guess they went to go talk to the person I had talked to.
Okay.
And that is when things started getting interesting. I still wasn't feeling good today, but I
Hmm.
still went into work
Right.
trying to do. And I was like, "Does any of you have a mask?"
So, first of all, that sounds responsible. Does anybody have a mask? That sounds uber responsible. I don't want to spread my germs. I also want to touch on the fact that you went to work sick. Now, those of us that are not sick in the workplace, that see individuals that come in sick, hate you. We hate you. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. We don't hate you. We just dislike you very strongly. However, as someone who has worked, a regular job and knows the pressures of, needing to pay bills and stuff like that, it makes sense. You did what you had to do. You went to work, and what happened?
I was like, I was like, "Does anyone have a mask?" And they were like, "No." I was like, so like every new person that came in, I would ask if they had a mask,
Hmm.
and like they would say no. And then my GM comes in, and I was like, "Hey, I know you have a mask. Can you give me a mask?" And she looks at me, and she was like, "I think it's allergies," and then just walks away.
Oh, she's a doctor.
No,
MD. Is that it? Is Doctor GM? Is that what type of soothsayer type stuff is it? Hmm. Allergies. It's like, or not, or not.
I was like, "No, that's not allergies. My sister got me sick." Like, "No, I think it's allergies."
So she's arguing with you. We're arguing about your body. Fun times. Fun. Continue.
So I was just like, okay. I just assumed she didn't have a mask
Hmm.
because, like, yeah. So I was like, okay. So can I not be on window or like bagging food because I don't want to touch anybody's food like this? It's like we work at a fast food place.
Oh, pause. Hey Mojo, just want you to know I see you. I see you. And so I also want you all to know that even though we are having this conversation in the background, I am inviting people to feel free to call in I am taking questions and all that good stuff. So call in if you find yourself in the Carla waiting room for too long. Shoot me a chat. Say, hey, I'm waiting. And I'll make sure to get to you right away. So please, please, please feel free to press that call button, you know, button, press. It moves you from listener to caller, and then it allows me to select you and have a conversation with you. So, colleague, continue.
Totally. Yeah, I just didn't want to bag anybody's food.
And just so that you guys can be where I am right now, my colleague is like legit sitting in front of me with like a whole thing full of crumbled up tissue. I'm exposed. You guys aren't, but I feel so exposed. And a big thing of orange juice. OMG. Okay. If you guys could see this huge thing of orange juice that she is drinking from right now, she could swim in it. Essentially, if that is what she wanted to do, she could literally swim in vitamin C right now and more tissue. Okay. I am so exposed. If you guys don't hear from me for a few days, it is because this one right here, um, got me sick. So thanks for that. Thanks for that. Um, so Mojo, I see you in the chat, but it doesn't look like that you are in the list of callers. Press the call in button so that I can call on you and we can have a conversation. Hit that call button. Oh, there you are. Okay, so we're gonna put our workplace horror stories on pause, and I guess give you time to, I don't know, blow the whole cold out your nose or something. And I'm gonna take this caller. All right, so take next caller. That would be you. Oh, did not press the right button. Fun times. Okay. Mo, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I sure can. I sure can hear you.
Hello.
How are you? Hey.
I'm okay. I'm over here in the bed with my tissue too, sinuses.
Oh my God, those sinuses will get you.
Yes, yes, it drains you.
Those sinuses will definitely get you. So you wanted to talk about hypnosis.
And I
It's one
wanted
of the
to
things
ask,
that you said, right?
yes, hypnosis. I was doing some
Uh-oh,
research
not hearing you.
on. Can you hear me?
So hypnosis, that was one of the things that you said you wanted to talk about, yes?
Yes. I was doing some research about psychotherapy and hypnosis, and I wanted to know a little bit more about that because of stress. I called myself doing some research because I lost my father, and the stress started affecting my body. And so I was on a journey to try some holistic things. I tried some acupuncture. That was a little different.
Okay.
I already do counseling. I have to do counseling for my job. And so I'm still experiencing things with my body. So I was thinking about the is it EDMR?
Oh, yeah, EMDR.
So yeah, some things for trauma. And so I was wondering, what was your take about the hypnosis, and what are all the things that you can do for psychotherapy?
Okay, so before I answer that question, which is a great question, I just want to confirm that everyone can hear Mojo. So anybody that is on the feed, please let me know if you are able to hear her. Okay, somebody did a thumbs up, so I take it that's a yes. Okay, so just wanted to make sure. So I hope the individuals on the YouTube live can also hear. I'm not really sure. Um, it says I couldn't. Let's see. It says that I'm not supposed to see this. It says, yes, I couldn't. Okay, that you can now. Looks like okay. So, as far as hypnosis is concerned, I want to start with the fact that that's not something that I currently practice. Um, because of the simple fact that I don't have any training in it. So I don't want to go around messing anybody up, you know. But hypnosis can be a very powerful tool because it kind of goes to the and deals solely pretty much with the subconscious. So things that we repress, things that we are not necessarily dealing with, that's in our conscious mind. That's kind of, you know, what it deals with. You know, you can take someone back to childhood. You can help someone with different, you know, experiences that they may have forgotten. A lot of times that's what hypnosis is used for. However, the big issue with hypnosis is it puts the client in a very impressionable state. And so during that, there has been literature, and please look this up for yourself. But there has been literature that people have actually implanted memories during hypnosis, and people, you know, it became a part of their subconscious where they really believed that these things were happening to them or had happened to them. So it can be a very very tricky thing. So if you do decide to do hypnosis, please make sure that it's with someone that you absolutely trust. I would definitely encourage the session to be recorded so that you can hear everything that was said to you, and so that you know everything that was uncovered or discovered during the session as well. Are you still there?
I didn't know how to. I couldn't find the mute button again. Um, that's that's interesting. I don't know. No, I'm a little. I was already a little nervous about it, but now I'm like, I don't know. But I did hear some patients who said that it had helped them, and so I was just wondering. But
Yeah,
that's
it
good
can.
information.
Yeah, it can be. It absolutely can be very, very helpful. Also, I know that I had talked to you about some, you know, grief, and I think that I sent you a grief exercise. Did you have a chance to ever look at the task of mourning?
You sent me a you did send me a
Or was it the cycles of grief that I sent you?
yeah, it was just the cycles agree.
Okay, so there's the cycles of grief, but typically when I have a client, I send them the task of mourning, and the reason for this is because it actually gives them something to do. The cycles of grief, that's something that you go through naturally, that's something that you go through organically. It's not a straight line, it is not in any way linear. And so that is very very important for people to understand, because someone might go from, you know, the shock to anger to feeling like they've come to a place of acceptance, and then all of a sudden they're triggered and they feel angry again, and then they feel this guilt because they feel like they're going backwards. There is no backwards. It's a circle. It's a cycle, and it's something that you go through organically. And so I also like to give again the task of mourning, because that's something that you can do. There's four tasks that help you through the healing process, and it leads you to acceptance. It teaches you how to live with your pain and alleviates the guilt of surviving. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense.
So, what are some things that you've been doing?
I've tried. I'm trying. Honestly, when you say there's no line, I've been trying to. I'm like, okay, well, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. I have a counselor.
Mm-hmm.
At my job, we're required to do counseling because we deal with traumatic things all day. So we have to spend like 8 hours in the classroom of education, critique, and counseling, group counseling. Then I have my own counselor. And so I feel like I am doing the work, but I can't understand why my body is responding. So I'm a little frustrated because I'm like, I'm participating in my healing. Yet my body is reacting as if I'm not. I guess I feel like I should be able to control it, and I can't control it, and that's
And that,
bothering me.
yeah, that's where we are. Grief is not something that you're going to be able to control. You can't schedule it. You can't tell it when to start. You can't tell it when to stop. That's not how that works at all. And that's another reason why I typically give out the task of mourning, because that is where you can put your energy. That is something that you can have more control over. So I'm just going to go over these tasks with you if you're cool with that.
That's good. I'm here for it. Oh, I do write. I like to write.
Oh,
When
cool.
I'm feeling down, I do like to write, and so that's something I enjoy writing.
Has that been helpful, writing?
Yes, I enjoy it. It can be joyful and it can be painful, you know. Um, but I've learned that writing helps me reflect. It also allows me to express everything I want to say, and
Okay.
it's like a safe place for me.
I'm curious as to what it is you want to say.
Hmm. Oh boy. Um, I'll say one of the things that I struggle with my grief was that I didn't talk to my father for probably like a year. We had did a text, but I had this burden to talk to him, but he was avoiding me because he was shamed of some things that he was doing, and
Mm-hmm.
so he basically was telling everybody he was going to talk to me when he got himself together.
Oh
However,
no.
he died, and he was in the process of getting himself together, and so I have a. It's like I'm sad, I'm angry. Um, it's a lot of things that I'm feeling. I didn't get to talk to him. You
How
know
long
the
had it been? How long had it been since you
well,
all talked?
I want to say in October I got ordained as a chaplain. We That was
Okay.
a text message, and he was like, "I can't come. I'm working this and that." And I'm like, "Well, you can watch the video." He was like, "Well, I want to come, but I don't look my best." And I was like, "It don't matter. Ain't nobody gonna say nothing to me." You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
he was like, "Nah, nah." But that was just through text. So I want to say the last time I talked to him probably was like maybe in May verbally.
Oh wow. Okay, so
And
it had been a month.
it's been longer than it was like a year.
Oh, you
Um,
mean last May?
Last May, yeah.
Oh
And
my
then not only
goodness.
that, I had trauma because I had a dream that my father was going to die, and so my dream came true, and so that was traumatizing too.
Wow. How when you had the dream, how did you deal with that? Did you tell anyone? Did you internalize that?
I told his sister, And she was like, "That's crazy because I had a dream, but it was about his blood on the ground or something." But that was 9 months prior to his death. And so, I was like, well, I think this is a warning. We need to get some insurance or do some things. But I just had a burden to talk to my dad, and I was so caught up in my emotions. I don't believe that I did my due diligence as like praying for him and things like that. Um, but yeah, he ended up dying 9 months after the dream.
When you say you don't think you did your due diligence, it sounds like you're taking some type of responsibility. Is that something that you're going through?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So there's some
I was
guilt there.
reaching out. Yeah, I felt like I could have. Maybe I should have prayed for him, or maybe I should have fasted for him, or something like. And I know mentally and emotionally, I can't control anything, but I feel as though I didn't do my best, as in interceding for him. So that's how I feel about it.
Sometimes when we are in a scenario where we have no control, right? At that point, we will create avenues of control. We will create avenues of responsibility. And it sounds like in this way, that's a part of what you've done, where, if I would have, then this would have been different. Had I ever, then this would have been different. Um, Sometimes a part of grieving is accepting that some losses are inevitable. Is that something that you've thought about?
Yes, but I still struggle. As in, I didn't. I could have did more. Um, I could have went searching for him or something. Like when I tell you, I had this heavy burden to speak to him and wasn't able to speak to him. It like really bothered me. Yeah, and I did reach out, but yet I did do something. I did reach out. I was the one who was rejected and and ignored.
Okay, so what I'm hearing you say is that you did do something.
Yeah,
You
I
did reach
did
out.
reach out.
But he wasn't in a place, the way that you describe it, he wasn't in a place to receive you because he still had some guilt and shame about some things that he had done in his past.
Correct.
And,
But we,
oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
no, but we've had conversations, and I told him, I forgive him, and it is what it is because I still have conversations with him. So it was kind of hard to. I still, when I heard everybody saying like, the day he died, actually I had got a on call position at my job as a PRN, and that day, his first cousin, my first day down there as a PRN, I arrived to a room and my cousin, she was getting her. They was pulling the cord on her, and I was on my father's side. Now this is like one of my father's favorite cousins. The next day, while I'm at church, well, actually, after I leave church and go home, um, I got a call like, Monicia, your father did. And I'm like, huh? Like, what? I was just praying for him at church, and I'm like, I don't even, like, is this y'all for real? And,
Right.
so it was my cousin on my promotion, the day of promotion of my job. They pulled the cord on her. I haven't seen her in a long time, but I remember her. She was around when I was younger more. And then the next day it was my father, and it was
Oh my
unexpected.
gosh. Oh my goodness. And I'm so sorry to hear that. While we are in this conversation, I do want to invite any listener that has any questions to call in. Press that call button, and I will be more than happy to speak with you as well. Before I let you off the line, Onicia, and I hope that you still stay around to listen. I do want to get into the task of mourning with you, so that I make sure that you don't leave empty handed. Is that cool?
Okay. My grandma hear me coughing. She talking about, spray your room with Lysol.
Uh,
Oh God.
she's like, I'm
Yeah,
not
that's
for
right.
it. I
I'm
understand.
not
I'm not.
for it. Right.
So the task of mourning, there's four. Okay, and it says, after death, survivors are left to face the pain of grief in a new world without their loved one. Mourning is the process of adapting to loss through the completion of four tasks. Keep in mind that adapting doesn't mean forgetting, it means finding a way to cherish the memories of a loved one while continuing to move forward in life. It means adjusting to the world without the person that is no longer with you while holding a place for them in your heart. So um, that is what this is influenced by. The first task is to accept the reality of the loss. After a death, it's common that the reality of the situation is minimized or denied. To complete this task, the reality of the loss must be fully accepted, both intellectually and emotionally. The second task is process the pain of grief. Grief involves painful emotions such as sadness, anger, and guilt. It can be tempting to avoid these feelings, bury them rather than facing them. However, working through grief means confronting, naming, and making sense of these emotions. The third task is adjust to a world without that person. The death of a loved one will usually bring about a number of life challenges. These can range from minor changes in daily routines to the adoption of an entirely new worldview. The third task is about navigating these changes and adjusting to the world without the loved one. So there's internal adjustments that are needed in this phase in this task. Internal adjustments are changes in one's identity. Survivors, such as yourself, Mo, may have to answer the question, who am I now? They may also experience changes in their self esteem. There is external adjustments that also need to be made. And these external adjustments include taking on new roles and developing new skills. Survivors may have to take on the tasks that were handled by their loved one, such as cooking, child care, fixing things, what have you. There's also spiritual adjustments that might need to be made. And these spiritual adjustments are changes to beliefs, values, and assumptions about the world. For example, a belief that the world is fair might change after a loss. The survivor may choose to reaffirm, modify, or replace their previous worldview. The last task, task four, is find a way to remember that loved one while moving forward in your life. This is a task that I have found to be so helpful when it comes to complicated grief. Complicated grief is grief that is ongoing. After a year's time, you're still moving through the cycles of grief, but in a very intense manner. And so, finding ways to involve, that person's memory, you know, putting your energy on remembering them versus putting your energy on forgetting them. Um, so it says moving on doesn't mean forgetting, right? It means finding a place for the loved one in your thoughts, a place that is important but still leaves room for others. So that means not ruminating, right? Completing this task means finding a healthy balance between cherishing their memory and moving forward with life. Sometimes it can look like incorporating them in your Christmas or holiday tradition. It can look like, celebrating their birthday. It can look like, talking about them, telling stories about them, remembering them on purpose, and making sure that a part of them stays with you. So I hope these four tasks of mourning will be helpful to you, Mo. And I also hope that you continue to listen as I take the next caller.
Thank you.
You are welcome. So I do have another caller here. Remember, I am taking callers, so definitely feel free to press that call button. I am a licensed therapist, and I am giving away advice on Supportive Advice Live, so feel free. So, hey,
Hello.
thank you so much for calling in. Hey, um, so what's your question? Or did you have a comment?
More of a comment.
Okay,
Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you well.
Oh, wonderful. Listening to the previous caller, Monisha, I was reminded of the Kubler-Ross model of grief, of the stages of denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. And what she was saying, it sounds like a combination of the stages of denial.
Uh-oh, I'm losing you a little bit.
Wondering if there was anything that, well, combination of bargaining. I'm sorry.
I'm not sure if you're in an area of poor reception. I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Let me get a little closer to the microphone. Combination of the bargaining stage, wondering if there was something different in your stage, and I just leave valid. And
I think that your comment is amazing. Unfortunately, I'm only hearing bits and pieces of it. I definitely would love to continue to hear what you have to say. It just doesn't sound like you're in the best area because it is breaking up pretty bad. I did hear you say a combination of bargaining, I believe, and it sounds like that you were going to do some validating, which I think would be absolutely amazing. Please feel free to continue. And everyone, again, I am taking callers, so feel free to press that call in button. Are you still with me? I think you might have lost reception. Please feel free to call back in.
hello, I'm back. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Thank you so much. So what were you going to say? It sounded like it was going to be very insightful.
Okay, yes. Listening to the previous caller, I was reminded of the Kubler-Ross model of grief. That includes the stages of denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. And listening to Manisha talking, it sounded very much like she's going through the stages of bargaining, wondering if there's anything that she could have done, and also a little bit of the stage of anger. And I just wanted to say, those emotions, those thoughts are completely valid, but I hope you can move on towards acceptance.
Wow. I thank you so much for that and that validation. I'm sure that that meant a lot to Monicia. Thank you so much for calling in and sharing those words. Um, very happy to have you. Monicia, you still there?
Yes, I'm back.
So, what do you think about that comment, those kind words?
For me, I didn't hear nothing he said. The reception was bad. I heard a little bit about the now, and I heard a little bit about. He said, I can't think of the other word he used.
Bargaining. He used the word bargaining.
Yep, he used bargaining, and then I didn't hear nothing else after that. It was just a lot of bad reception.
So what he was saying, and I hope you don't mind me paraphrasing, as you said it so well. But what he was saying is that it sounded as though you were in a bargaining phase where you were wondering if there was anything else, that you could have done to change the situation. And he was saying that he was that all of those feelings are valid, but he really hopes that you find acceptance as it relates to the loss of your father. I do want to point out that Monicia just recently lost her father, so she is definitely going through the stages of grief. When I think bargaining, I think my perspective and what I've learned through my studies is that it is wishing or trying to make a deal to get that person back, and wanting that person essentially to return. You're definitely not accepting the loss at all. You are, going through this conversation, for lack of any other wording here, with God, if you will, to bring that person back, or to stop the pain that you're going through, or whatever the case may be. If you had to go look at the stages of grief, Monicia, where do you think you fall from your own perception?
I would say I am, at times I'm sad, at times I'm angry. Um, Maybe I'm misunderstanding the bargaining part. I don't feel like. I guess I feel as though I wish I could have done something different on my behalf, even though I know consciously there's nothing I could have done different. Um,
And that's
as,
more or less guilt. If you were my client and you were in my office, um, I would definitely lean more towards feelings of guilt, um, or even regret, which is a lot of what we feel after someone has passed. We ask ourselves, did we take every opportunity? Did we do everything that we could have done? And all of these feelings are absolutely valid, because it's kind of like the hindsight of, if I had known that they were going to pass, what would I have done differently? And there's always something that we feel like we would have done differently had we known.
mhm. um, Not only that, like in the process of my father dying, I also received. I guess I'm traumatized too in some ways.
Talk
I
to me about
received.
that.
I received a message from a stranger saying, "We could have probably saved your dad, but they robbed him. They took his gun and some money." And
What?
I took a screen. Yeah, if I told you the few things that happened during that time, oh God. So I screenshot that. When I go back to Messenger to see it, they unsent the message, but I already had the message. Um, After seeing that message, like 2 days later, I had my grandmother lives with me. I had a dream that I got a phone call that she died. And strangely, maybe some people may not believe, but some of my dreams do come true. And so I was traumatized receiving that dream after that. And so that's basically my process or the things that I've been hit with during the time of my father's death.
The funeral was recently, and so I want to say that because there is no thought process from myself or anyone else, especially those who have suffered a loss, to think that you would be through the stages of grief, already, and again, I want to point out that the stages of grief are not linear. They're not linear. It is a cycle, and you can feel different things in tandem. You can be sad and angry. You can feel as though you have come to a stage of acceptance and then get angry again. I have a lot of clients that have taken on grief, because of the losses that they've had, and in working with them for years, one thing that is so important is that you give them the space to feel what they're feeling. There is no time frame, time limits on grief, not at all. And I think that one of the things that's missing for you, Mo, is self compassion. That's one of the things that I can hear that you're not giving so much to yourself. You're saying, well, I wish, that I was further along by now. I feel like I should be over it by now. Or not even over it, but maybe in another phase. I'm doing all of these things, but I'm not feeling any better.
You are correct. Because of our relationship being on and off, I did not think that when my father did pass away that it would affect me the way it's affected me.
So, like many of us, you weren't prepared.
Yeah, and I thought I was prepared.
Yeah.
I somewhat thought I would be prepared and it wouldn't be a struggle for me, but today it's been a roller coaster.
And that's something right there, because it is presumptuous for us to assume, right, just because we don't have an ideal relationship with someone, or that we are estranged from someone, that if they were to pass away it wouldn't bother us as much. Sometimes we feel like because we processed a loss while they were still living, that the grief, if they pass away, won't be as bad. But as you gave the example of, it hit you just the same, except for there was more regret because of the strain. You still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
This isn't an easy topic, and I don't want to treat it as such. Grief is a very complicated topic, and it's definitely not something that we're going to sum up in any way, shape, or form in an hour's time. However, I do want to say to you that I would really encourage you to give yourself some space to feel what you're feeling without expectation. Put on a lens of curiosity and emotional, mental openness and feel what you're feeling. There is no place you're supposed to be now. There is no way you're supposed to feel right now, except for how you feel. Can you do that?
Yes, I'll try to work on it. I'll try to work on it.
Well, it's not a mandate. Obviously, I don't do those as a therapist, but I do want to definitely ask for you to consider it and give it some serious thought. I would like for you to stay on as a speaker, you know. But I do have another caller, and so I'm going to take the caller, and so we will. I'll just ask you to mute, and then we'll take this caller here. So I have, it looks like Brady on the line. How are you? You're on mute.
Just checking on my bunny. He looked a little hot and tired. I think he's taking a nap. But, so you're just giving free advice today, huh?
Yeah. How about that?
That's pretty cool. That's what's up. I was doing that the other day, something like that here on Callin. And
Okay.
I could use your help. So let's see. What I'm going through is that I've been trying for like decades to get Dr. West to run as a presidential candidate. And now he's finally doing it. But he's doing it for a political party that's kind of problematic. So I've been trying to start my own party since 2016. And nobody's really on board. Like, no one really likes the idea. But now that Dr. West is running for this problematic party, it's kind of becoming clear to everybody that we need a new third party. And everyone's kind of talking about it, but no one wants to help with the idea. So how do I get people to I don't know, how do I get people to become politically active?
That's hard. And then,
Right.
and the reason and the reason why that's hard is because it's such a personal topic. People's political views and values are so personal to them, and it's hard to influence that. And so it can be hard to get people on board without offending or individuals not wanting to be a part of that topic, because it's a hot topic that easily offends individuals. I think that it's just important that you allow people to know that the information is out there. Put it out there, let them know that it exists. If you're an influencer and you make videos, great, do that. And then allow the people to come to you. The individuals that are actually interested, give them avenues to locate you and come to you, or donate, or whatever it is that you need from them. You can go and get whatever licensure needed to start getting signatures and stuff like that, or permit, I think is the word, needed to get signatures. It's really more about putting yourself out there and making a space to attract those that are interested.
That's cool. Much appreciated. I'll just keep putting myself out there, and I'll just ignore the screams and the complaints.
The screams and the complaints, are those coming from people that are against or for what you're
Against.
okay? And I mean, and in all honesty, Brady, that's with everything. You
Right.
you put yourself out there, and there's going to be positive, and there's going to be negative, and the negative can be a motivation, right? And the positive,
Absolutely.
is a motivation. Absolutely. But you keep on going. You keep on putting yourself out there, and you make the information available. You put out platforms for individuals to reach out to you so that you can get the feedback you need.
Right. So we could all work together, get some kids some food and some health care. I'll get food and health care for everyone taken care of, so we can have a little more vacation time, That's the end goal.
I like
we
that.
just got to do a little bit of work first. We just got to do a little bit of work first. So I know that's a lot to ask for some people, but too, it's a big ask. So let's see. How do you make friends with somebody who's already decided you're the devil? Or do you bother?
That is a loaded question that you just said there. I think
we can go to the next person if you want. Yeah, no pressure on that one.
Well, I did want to address it because I'm interested as did the person tell you or tell that hypothetical person that they think they're the devil, or is this an assumption?
They're making assumptions. Yeah, they're making assumptions. I didn't actually do anything devilish, yeah.
No, did you hear from them directly that they thought that you were devilish?
I'm sorry, what was that?
I said, did you hear from them directly that they thought you were devilish?
Oh, yeah, they think that the thing that makes me too devilish is that I love myself too much, and apparently I ruin conversations.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, all you can do is continue to be yourself. And if that person, whoever this person is, if that person has made up their mind, on who you are, that can't determine how you behave and how much you love you and how much you, continue doing positive in your everyday life. I don't know what would be the motivation behind making friends with them if there's someone who clearly says that they have no interest in being friends with you. But there's definitely ways to be cordial, which is not feeding into any type of defensiveness or anything like that, and just living your best life no matter what they're thinking or saying about you.
Right, and that's a good point. Like, I don't necessarily want to be friends with these people. I just want them to stop harassing and trying to abuse me while I'm just trying to do my thing.
Wow. I mean, I think that's a fair ask. And when it comes to wanting people to stop targeting you or whatever the case may be, the one thing that we have control of is our boundaries. Who we let in, who we don't let in. Every social media website has a block button. Every phone that I'm aware of has a block button. We don't have to be involved in these.
Here's the problem I'm facing right now is that let's pretend, for example, that Monica has me blocked right now, and you allowed her to be the speaker on your platform. All of a sudden, what that means on this app is that I would not be able to call in or use the chat down there to communicate. So she's essentially killed my chances of communicating with you. Now, we might want to have a conversation, And that's not going to matter because Monica would have had me blocked, and she's just controlling the fact. She's trying to control who you talk to and who I talk to at that moment in time. You understand? And so that's the problem I'm running into here. This guy Derek down there in the listener section has me blocked. So every time someone allows Derek to be a speaker on their platform, he prevents me from having a conversation with somebody who might actually want to talk to me. And it's been destroying the democracy of voices here on Callin, and it's been causing the conversations to become kind of dry and meaningless instead of productive and constructive or creative.
Okay, so what I'm hearing, Brady, is that you are having a conflict with one of the listeners, Derek. Where is this conflict coming from? Where did that start?
Well, I asked him if he would be interested in helping to build a third party to the left of libertarians and stuff like that about a year ago. He told me it was a really dumb, stupid idea, blah, blah, blah. And he just happened to be best friends with a sex pest on this app. And when I outed his friend for being a sex pest, he just started coming at me sideways. So, of course, I was the bad guy for that. So I'm sorry I called your friend out for being a kind of a rapist, but that's just how I am. I keep it real, Derek. So you're just going to have to... I mean, it wasn't anything personal towards you, dude. So I don't know why you're mad at me. But, I mean, if your friends are acting like sex pests and rapists, I'm going to call it out. That's all there is to it. I mean, don't take it personal. You know, it's not you. But, I mean, he just had, you know, how do you say, loyalty to the wrong side. And now he's still mad at me for it, you know? And I can only do so much there.
So this sounds like this has been something that's been ongoing. Have you guys ever actually had a conversation about this?
No, he's totally afraid of having a conversation with me. I'm willing to talk to him anytime. He doesn't bother me much. I mean, I don't care if he talks. I don't care who he talks to. If he wants to communicate in all these rooms, I'm not trying to stop him from speaking. But yeah, basically he wants to be me. So I think often you'll catch him saying things that sound like things that I said. You know, and he'd be like, "Oh, I don't know who said this, but blah, blah," and then he'll quote me. And so, I'd love to talk to you about it, Derek, but you're going to have to grow the spinal cord for it first. You know, you're going to have to develop the fortitude. Right now, Derek says, I have absolutely no idea what he's talking about. Brady clearly needs help. If someone is willing to take the time, respect. And what I'm talking about, Derek, is the fact that you have me blocked and you consistently prevent me from speaking on other shows that have nothing to do with our beef. And there's Martin. Martin is one of the other ones down there in the call-in section. Martin actually called an elderly member of call-in the other day and encouraged them to self-harm themselves because they were sending messages to Martin that Martin didn't like. Martin was tired of this old man sending him DMs. And so when I get sent DMs that I don't want to read, I just ignore them. But Martin felt it necessary. He felt like he was somehow so hurt by William that he had to go in there. And there's so many bullies on this app I got to handle. And police. It's out of control. They're forming a sex cult on here. They got like a psychic sex cult they're trying to start now. It's getting weird. Martin, do you want to explain your psychic sex cult to everybody? And why you're trying to encourage old men? Yeah, see, there he goes. So, all right, he's up. Nice. You could ask Martin yourself, like, why is he trying to start a psychic sex cult, and why are you harassing elderly people to the point of self-harm? What did William do to you to hurt you, Martin, is what we want to know. And second of all, do you really think that you're capable of talking someone into self-harming? Because Martin has a psychology degree, apparently, and so he should be aware of how problematic that behavior is. I'd love to know what's up. And also, Martin, like, why do you have me blocked, man? Like, how did I hurt you? I'd like to know how William hurt you, and I'd like to know how I hurt you. But I'll go ahead and pass the mic, because these are my haters, and I'd like to see what they have to say. I'd like to hear their response.
All right, so we will do just that. We will pass the mic. I'm going to take the next caller. Give me one sec. Okay, so Martin was actually not our next caller, so I'm going to go to the person who actually is. Did you have a comment, a question?
This is some brand new beef. I would say that I would like nothing to do with a sex cult, but I can't say that because they're psychic. So I will step down and let the beef.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wait a minute. All right. So, one thing that I'm not going to allow is bullying. Okay. Um, and so this is not the platform for that. If you have a conflict with someone and you're looking for valid resolution, this is a great platform to come to. If you're on here to sling mud at someone, and you're upset that you all have not been able to resolve the conflict elsewhere, but you're not in a place of actual resolve, this is not the place for you. This is not the platform for you, because I'm not going to put anyone in an unhealthy environment, at least not knowingly. Okay, so I don't know who is the person or persons that I guess instigated these these conflicts between the three of these individuals. However, this is not the platform for anyone to bully anyone. This is a platform for healthy resolution. Healthy resolution. So if anyone is coming on here just for the purpose of, again, slinging mud or getting something off of their chest without actually wanting to resolve the matter, this is not the platform for you. So Martin, I'm going to let you on, and hopefully we can find some clarity and some resolve in this.
Hi. Thank you for taking.
Hi, Martin.
Thank you for taking my call. I'm so happy that we have somebody like you on this platform right now, because definitely we do need some conflict resolution on this platform. uh, I have just expressed that I want to be left alone by Brady and William. William espouses some ideas that I find appalling, and I don't want to get into it because he's not present. But Brady, I just want him to leave me alone. That's all. And I feel many others on this platform also express that. He wants to put himself in spaces that he's not welcome, and that's what we have expressed. I would like to resolve that if that's possible.
Absolutely. What attempts have been made thus far to resolve the conflict? What interpersonal effectiveness techniques have been used thus far to minimize this conflict?
Well,
Martin.
well, we have expressed that we're not interested in someone who is only interested in talking about him and his ideas. And we have expressed that time and time again over the past year that we all have been on this platform. And he has his own shows. Anybody is welcome to go to his shows, but he has no attraction there, and he feels that we have a lot of attraction in our rooms, and he wants to impose him.
Mm, okay. And so, was there ever a time where you and him actually sat down and had a conversation, or was it, okay, I'm not liking this, and so we blocked one another without conversating?
Well, I do have a diploma in psychology. I don't have a degree in psychology, so I have limited
Oh,
professional like tools to actually engage in that. We have had some interventions, but besides that, we haven't been having a professional present, unfortunately, to solve those problems.
okay. I want to say that it's important that we all have boundaries, Martin. And one thing that I'm hearing you say is that you put up a boundary. You met with this individual, I mean, virtually, obviously, and you heard what this person was trying to say, and you decided, okay, this is my cup of tea, and so you express that. I'm sure, or I'm assuming, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, in a professional manner, and it was not respected. The boundary was not respected, and so it led to blocking. Now, Brady, I don't know you. This is my first time ever speaking with you. However, I did hear a lot of aggression in the things that you were saying. You sounded very angry. Um, and there was a lot of defensiveness. There was a lot of instigative conversation, comments, calling individuals out, and things of that nature. Now, I haven't heard from the other person that you were talking about. One of the callers that I had looks like possibly they became pretty uncomfortable, and so they didn't want any type of involvement in that. But Martin has come on, and he sounds like he is more than willing to resolve the matter as long as his boundaries are respected. Now, I'm not going to put you on right now because I'm talking to Martin, but you seem to be using the chat pretty vigorously. Are you willing to resolve the conflict? Can you put that in the chat? Okay, so Brady says, yeah. Brady says he wants to resolve the conflict. Now, I want to be clear, resolving the conflict doesn't have to necessarily mean that Martin unblocks you. It can just mean that you guys come to an agreement. If it doesn't lead to you becoming unblocked, is it still something that you're willing to do? Okay, and again, we're deflecting. I'm asking you about conflict, and then you're talking about Martin telling people to self harm themselves. Martin, can you let us in a little bit onto what that is about, so we can have some clarity about that comment, or whatever it is that Brady is talking about?
There's this other person who expresses that Sandy Hook was a psyop and everybody was an actor in that incident. And I found that appalling. And I tried to make him stop sending me materials that would support his ideas about that, and I just told him that just do whatever you'll do and just leave me alone and leave me out of it. But he keeps harassing me with messages all the time, and unfortunately I expressed that if it comes to the point that I have to go to the length of actually encourage him to do stuff, but that didn't seem to work. It was just a threat to hopefully get him to stop harassing me, but that didn't seem to work either, unfortunately. But yeah, so I'm trying to ignore that person for now. And the same goes for Brady. It's not so much his ideas, but sort of his narcissism that bothers me when it comes to Brady. And I just want to not be exposed to it, that's all. Nothing more. I don't go into his rooms, but he constantly imposes himself on the spaces that.
So, I mean, at this point, what I'm really hearing is that, again, you have a boundary that you want respected. Um, and Brady, again, as I said before, I've not met you, but it sounds as though, in some way, shape, or form, you've offended Martin, or you guys are having a consistent conflict, right? You said that he was not open to your ideas, which is fine, which is absolutely fine, right? Because at the end of the day, as we just spoke, um, as we just I'm looking at the comments, I apologize. As we just spoke, everybody's not going to agree with us, right? Everybody is not going to hear our ideas, jump for joy, and jump on board. There's going to be people that don't agree with us. There's going to be people that don't side with our way of believing, and that's okay. If it's something that we want to continue to do, we continue to do it. And if not, we don't. We don't need everyone on board to do what it is that we feel like we're supposed to be doing. The only person who needs to be on board is ourselves. And then we find the avenues that are open, and we take the opportunities available to make it happen. And if Martin is someone that did not agree with your idea, or maybe he, as you said, thought it was stupid, Martin is a representation of a lot of people that you're going to run into that's going to say the same thing. And you move on. You move on. Do I have any other callers? Anybody else? Anybody else? Martin, Brady, I thank you both for your time so much. I definitely appreciate your time. And Martin and Brady, I thank you for coming on and at least attempting to resolve the conflict. It doesn't sound like Brady, like you're open to resolve right now. It sounds like you're still very angry, and you're looking for a fight. And if that is where you are, that's absolutely fine. But the fight will not take place here because this isn't the platform for that. Any other callers? Anybody else? Going once? Going twice? Okay, so we got another person. All right, so let me... Boom, boom, boom. All right, so let me take you... Sir. Hello. Can you hear me?
I can.
How you doing?
Oh, pretty good. So, I would like to talk about going back to Bo's father.
Thank you. I appreciate you. As we digress, right? So please go back to Mo's dad.
Well, my point is that he said that he wanted to do it alone, and whether or not that was the right action, it doesn't really matter. I mean, that was his decision. And to second guess it and say, well, what if I could have stepped in his behalf? That's not what he would have wanted, I don't think. And I don't think that he would want you to feel the burden that you're feeling now. So I'm not sure if that completely fits with the situation. That's just my opinions on it. And also, I'd like to talk a little bit more generally about especially men, and I wouldn't say mental health, but more of like emotional hygiene. My father lost his father not too long ago, my grandfather. And my father told me that when he was growing up, his father, my grandfather, did not show love physically. My dad never got hugs. And my dad told me that he knows that his father loved him, but his father was not able to show that. So, you have to admit that sometimes men feel the need to put themselves in a bubble, and if that's the way they feel, it's the way they feel. And it's not something that you could just turn on or turn off. And second guessing it, I believe, might be causing you more pain.
I think that that is a great point of view that you just brought to the table, right? There is a lot of emotional suppression as it relates to males. It is taught as a form of masculinity, right? Not to cry, is a part of the gender, role to, oh, you have to be strong, suck it up, keep it moving, and to show love has been deemed soft, for lack of a better term. And so you will have a lot of households where the father never hugged his son, or didn't say "I love you," and that is typical. That is not outlandish. That is something that is culturally normal, and something that we are breaking out of. Thank goodness. But I definitely hear your point of view when you say, if that is what he wanted to do and those were his wishes, part of what might be putting a burden on Mo is that she felt like it was her responsibility to relieve him of those wishes. But I do still have Mo. Thank you so much, Mo, for staying with us throughout this process. Mo, what do you think? Feel free to chime in.
I thought that was a great topic. He brought up about men and their emotions. Actually, I was like, "Ooh, that's something I want to talk about next week when I come on." You don't get tired of me.
Speaking of next week, I do want to thank everyone who was a part of this show, and I mean everyone. This show is on every Thursday, 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Supportive Advice Live. Tune back in. It's unpredictable, and unpredictable is great because that's life. It's not scripted. You get what you get, and you leave the rest, right? And so come back, come back, listen in, and I hope to get to talk to all of you again next week. Again, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate every single one of you. Don't be afraid to press that call button, and I will be back next week at 6 o'clock. Bye, everybody.